very similar in its formula. The K is a constant, the Q's are charges, okay? And the R is the distance between the center. That's the same formula, but it's electromagnetic force, which is a lot stronger than gravity. Speed of light is another constant. The speed at which light travels through a vacuum, 186,000 miles per second. You've heard people talk about figuring time in light years. That's a time element. It's a time number. And it is how far light will travel in a year, which is 7, rounding off really big, 7 trillion miles. That's how far it goes in a year. Something over here. All right, next slide should say that if that was any different, we wouldn't live here. If it was any, we wouldn't be alive if it was any different by a small fraction of a percent. Can anybody tell me why the speed of light is that number? It is that number. Measured it, observed it. You know, I'm going backwards again. I do have my challenges. Okay. Other fine-tuning factors. Factor from the ratio of the electromagnetic force to the gravitational force to the ratio of the electron mass to the proton mass. There have been over 30 factors identified in science that are fine-tuned. Those ratios have to be there for the atom to work. I mean, who decided what the mass of a proton would be, or electron? I mean, one thing I want to interject here, this whole presentation has nothing to do with Christianity. I'm not making a pitch for Christianity. This is not what this is. This is showing there's a fine-tuning to the universe. Okay? That doesn't mean the Bible's true. I'm not trying to say that's why I believe the Bible's true. That's not why I believe it. This is showing that there's something going on that is beyond our ability to understand. That these fine-tuning things are something you have to deal with them to understand. Is there a creator, a fine-tuner, or is there not? Based on this scientific information. Okay, now play a little game here. I'm going to ask a question to my panel of anonymous scientists. I have like 50 of them here. Right there. Okay. If you could use this control board to change any of the constants in physics, what would the effects be on the universe and life? All right, so you have a dialed into the universe, and you can change these forces, you can change the speed of light, you can change gravity, you can change anything you want. What would happen? What would be the effect? Answer from my panelists. Life could not exist. Okay? But this is scientific. It's not my opinion, people. What I just said was a statement of fact. If they were just off a little bit, just went through all that. These are not people that are Bible thumpers making these statements. These are people who are learned scientists. Next question, strong nuclear force. Question, have you determined the value of the strong nuclear force? Answer, yes. How did you determine the value? We measured it by observation and experimentation. Now, I don't know how to do that, but they have. Why is the value that it is? Why is the value what it is? We don't know. The honest scientists in this realm will say, we don't know. And they say that. Weak nuclear force. Have you determined the value of the weak nuclear force? Yes. How did you come to determine the value? We measured it by observation and experimentation. Why is the value what it is? And what you get is speechlessness. In other words, why is that number the number that it is? It's going to sound a little redundant here. Have you determined the value of force of gravity? Yes. How did you determine the value? We measured it by observation and experimentation. Why is the value what it is? the sound of silence. You remember that song? All right, let somebody tell me, who sang it?
Simon Garfunkel.
There you go. All of you do that. What movie did it come from?
The Graduate.
The Graduate, thank you. Check that out. I'm thinking it was. Mrs. Robinson gave one there, I know. Okay. Have you determined the value of electromagnetic force? Yes. How did you determine the value? We measured it by observation and experimentation. Why is the value what it is? Stillness. No one moves. Speed of light. Have you determined the value of the speed of light? Yes. How did you determine the value? We measured it by observation and experimentation. Why is the value what it is? We'll get back to you on that. That's the answer from the scientist panel that's right here. Origin of the universe and life. What does science indicate about the origin of the universe? A moment of silence. You would say, well, they say the Big Bang, that doesn't answer the question. Just because you say the Big Bang caused the universe, what caused the Big Bang? I mean, you go back, you can't keep going back until there's no answer. What does science indicate about the origin of life? No, origin of life. What does science indicate about the origin of the universe? I made a mistake. Okay, what does science indicate about the origin of life? Oh, the same thing, crickets. What is the origin? How is the origin of life? How did it come about? How did we become human beings, or the first life, whatever way you believe, whether you believe in evolution or not? How did that start? I received an email from a good friend who said, he mentioned a study, and he gave me a link to it, about how scientists have come up with what they think is a replicating cell or replicating molecule. Okay, it's called, the term that they use is the RNA world. Anybody ever heard of that, of the RNA world? Okay. If you look into it, what they did was, and I read the whole article, and what they did was they took RNA that was actually from living matter, and then they reacted that with a, trying to think of the name of it, a synthetic, manufactured enzyme. I can't really name it. Somebody might know the name of it, but anyway, ribonucleic something. Sorry about that. And came up with something that replicated itself. In other words, the RNA made more RNA, molecularly. Okay, well, that's really exciting, I guess, but first of all, number one, you started with life itself. There's already life there. The RNA came from life. And secondly, you had to actually engineer the other enzyme from synthetics that took a lot of human work and design to do it. It really doesn't prove anything about life being able to come into existence, what you call, what is the word? Help me, Bill, you know what the name is. Abiogenesis, without life coming from non-life. That really has nothing to do with it. Questions? And I would like for our, and I'm going to loosen up I got criticized by somebody who will remain nameless. They're in the group, but I'm not going to say the name. For not allowing more freedom in your questions. But I would like for you to address these 4 questions in your mind. And if you have any kind of thing to say about them, then let's hear about that.